doing? How are you doing? How are you doing? Thank you so much for joining in our today's live session. My name is Nasteri, and if this is your very first time joining us here, feel most welcome. And in our today's live session, I will not be doing this alone as always. I'll be joined in by a really wonderful guest. And in our today's live session, we are going to be talking about puberty. How can you guide your child as far as puberty is concerned? What are some of the changes that you should be able to see as a mother, as a father, as a guardian, as a parent, and know that really this is the time to have the talk. How should you approach this talk in the first place? So this is what we shall be covering in this session, and we are going to give the people maybe 2 3 minutes to join in. And when you join in, please tell us where are you watching us from? What are your expectations as far as this live session is concerned? Yeah, so really hoping that this is going to be an interactive session. I want to hear from you. I want to see your questions. Come up with as many questions as possible because we know that talking about sex with your children, it is not easy at all. It is very, very difficult. And electronics, sorry, and many of us are not able to actually talk to our children regarding sex, regarding growing up, and the body changes. So that this is what this session is going to be about. It's going to be an eye opener. If you've really never talked to your child regarding their sexual well-being, their sexual health, then this is the a session for you. This is the session for you. So my guest will be joining in the next maybe 2 or 3 minutes, and within that time or before that time, maybe you can share this live with the person next to you. If you know somebody has a child from 6 years old, they maybe to about 17 years old. Let them know that we have this amazing talk that we are going to talk about puberty and sexual health, and how should you even approach this session in the first place. How should you talk to your child regarding this session? So if you're watching us, please tell us where you're watching us from. Drop us a like, and feel free to use the chat. I'll be reading your messages. Yes. So we give our guests maybe just 2 more minutes as we wait for more people to stream in so that we can begin this amazing session. I'm really sure that we are going to have a lot of fun together. We are going to learn together because I'm also going to learn. I'm also here to learn just like you. And I'm really, really excited because, I have a preteen. My daughter is 11 years old. And yes, in as much as, yes, I try to talk to her, but I have really never managed to like really open up completely and talk about it. So as a parent to a teenage, to a preteen, we call them preteen because she's not yet a 13, she's not yet a teenager. My daughter is 11 years old. So also I'm going to be learning how should I approach puberty, how should I talk to my daughter. So I hope you are going to learn something from this session. So if you have a child 6 years old the way to about maybe 17 years old, and you've never talked to them regarding this amazing topic, then this is the live session for you. This is the time for you to learn how to go about it. My guest will be joining in maybe in the next 1 minute, and she is. Before I introduce her to you, I want you to tell us where are you watching us from. Do you have a child maybe from 6 years old or they maybe to 17 years old? Have you ever talked to them regarding this topic of sexuality and also my guest is about to join in. Yeah, yes, she is. Hey, Sarah.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Well. Is my audio clear? Is my audio well? Can you hear me very well?
Yeah, it's very clear. Very clear. Thank you so much. And your and mine? Am I clear?
Yeah, yes, it's perfect. I can hear you
Good.
clear.
Thank you. Good to see you.
Long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. But before I know we have a lot. We have a lot to catch up. But
Sure.
we will have some background. There's some
I have
noise.
so much background noise, right?
It's coming from, but there's some noise.
Oh, I have background noise.
Yeah.
All
Now it's
right. Let me see how to work that out.
okay. I
Oh, you can hear me now? How is it now?
okay. Now it's fine.
Is it
It's
clear?
yeah. It's better.
All right. All right. We can go on.
Okay. Okay, guys, I had introduced you to my guest. My guest is Sarah Kibazo, and she'll be telling us more about herself, maybe what she does, and why this
Yeah.
topic is important to her. Because I knew Sarah from talk I've a lot about puberty, sexual education, and that is why I decided to invite her into this live session so that we can learn together, about puberty, about teen, health, and all that. I can tell get you. Maybe just take us through that.
All right. I think I keep you keep breaking from my end.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I don't know if there are audience there who can tell us how our sounds look like. Are they getting us clear or something? Do we need to do something about it? Can you get any feedback?
No comments yet regarding the audio. Not yet.
Oh, no comment. All right. I think I can do with what we have. So we are talking about. I introduced myself, right? I think I got a bit of that. Yeah, and I want to say, who am I? Yeah, I'm Sarah Kibazo, and I'm a life coach, and I consult on sexuality parenting, where we train parents on how to talk to their children regarding sexuality from a young age. And apart from that, I do teens and youth mentorship, which is a program we carry out every holiday online, in April and in August, and then in November we carry out a physical camp, November, December, depending on how the holiday has begun. So we carry a physical camp. With that, it worth the wait, where we train young people on how to stay pure, not necessarily to abstain, but to stay pure. Yeah, those are two different things. To
Mhm.
stay pure and to obtain two different things. So today I'm here on account of sexuality parenting, where we want to talk about puberty, right? And as we talk about puberty, I'm here to help us to understand our role as parents when our children get into their puberty stage. Yes, Teresa, you can go on now.
That's a really perfect intro. And maybe I was when you were introducing yourself, I was wondering, like, what do you mean when you say talking to the children regarding mental health? What do you mean by that? What exactly are we supposed to talk to them about?
Their sexuality, right? That's what you ask?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So when you talk to children regarding their sexuality, basically you are telling them that their sexuality is not only their responsibility, but it's also your responsibility as a parent. And being a parent who is able to show your child matters regarding their sexuality, you are creating a bond with them. You're helping them understand that their bodies and everything regarding their body is actually you are, you know what, it's actually you are not only your responsibility, but you are concerned that you want to see them make sober decisions regarding their sex life, regarding relationships, and also regarding, their sexuality in totality. You just want to see them make sober decisions around that part of their life. So when we say that we are training parents, it's because most parents grew up from a background where nobody talked to them about their sexuality. So they are actually in that part of what do I tell my children when it comes to sexuality, and it's a way of them. We help them outgrow that gap
Mhm.
to be able to fill it up for their children, to know when to talk, what to talk, how to talk, because all that helps you either stay in consistent communication with your child or break you away from them. Yeah, depending on how you will bring it on the table, you realize that it will either, make that conversation continue, or it will end it up. It will end it up. Yeah, so we bring you to that place of you understanding how, where, why, and what to talk when it comes to their sexuality.
Ah, perfect. That's perfect. And maybe I was just wondering, like, what do you mean by sexuality? Like, maybe a parent out there may be wondering what exactly is sexuality? Like, what is this? Maybe can you maybe expound on that?
Yeah, many times when you talk about sexuality, people are like, do you want us to start talking to our children how they will have sex and all that? Yeah, and sometimes also we get this misconception that when we talk to parents regarding sexuality, about their children's sexuality, it's like it's like parents are like, no, me, you don't need to talk to me about that. Yes, 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 yes. Actually, we don't need to talk to you about that because we believe you are an expert in that field. For you even to be called a parent, you must be an expert in that field. But then now, what we are, many parents believe that we should actually talk to the children. But you see, when now we do that, we are telling them that their sexuality and their sex life and all those kind of things is up to them. We are not part of it. But now we want to bring ourselves on the table and show them that's the same way I'm responsible for your education. I'm also responsible on how you live your sexual life. And when we talk about sexuality, we don't mean sex. We mean about a person in totality, how they feel, how they look, how they are changing into becoming, how they do their things, how people regard them outside there. That is in totality what sexuality is all about. When I say Sarah has large eyes, that's my sexuality. How I will feel and react about it is sexuality part of me.
Ah,
So
wow.
actually, sexuality is regarding my totality. It regards an individual, how they look, how they speak, how they feel, how they relate to other people, how they regard themselves as a girl or a boy, as a female or a male. All that is sexuality.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that really because a lot of people normally we kind of like join sexuality with sex. Like most people say that, like we assume sexuality is actually sex, and that is true according to what you've explained to us. And now we are talking sexuality. Maybe we take us to maybe puberty. What is puberty? Um, what are some of the changes parents can see and know that our children are going through puberty? Maybe you can take us through that.
All right. I want to talk when we talk about puberty, we're talking about the Turner stages, the changes that happen. Hey, there's a background noise a lot. Sorry.
Not that much.
All right. So when we talk about puberty, we are talking about the Turner stages. These are the stages that takes place in an individual, the changes that takes place on an individual from childhood to adulthood. That period between childhood and adulthood. So that period is what we call puberty stage, and scientifically we call it the Turner stage. And during that time, there are a lot of changes that takes place in the body of an individual, and during that time is also when an individual is not a child, neither are they adults. So the way the things that experiencing, the changes they're experiencing, the things they're going through during that stage is very important for us as parents to know, to actually like know and be ready for them. And we say the puberty stage actually are between 9 and 12. 9 and 12, they can begin between 9 and 12 years old, depending on a kid, and they can go up to 17 years old. Changes are just taking place, changes are just taking place. But in the real sense, um, they begin much earlier, even at 8. For some other kids, at 8 years old, they'll start experiencing their Turner stages. Some changes in their bodies, and we say that these changes begin more emotionally first before they become physical. Yeah.
Mm. Okay, and maybe a parent who is listening to us, maybe they've never heard about those stages that you're talking about, the Turner stages. Could you maybe expound? Because I know they are going to ask us what was she talking about, the Turner stages? What are those? Maybe can you maybe expound on that for somebody who've never heard about it?
All right. The Turner stages are actually the changes, the stages of changes that takes place in an individual. I don't want to call them a child because they're not children at that time. They're not kid, neither are they adults. So we say maybe in an individual who is between the age of 9 and 17.
Mhm.
So these are puberty changes. Actually, Tana is just a word, another word for puberty. It's just the puberty changes that takes place in an individual. And just as I said, they begin more internally before they become physical. And that's when you would see a 9-year-old having mood swings. They are either crying a lot, behaving as children a lot, and they're becoming even moody and all that. They're becoming moody. That is the time you will. Sorry. So at that time, when these stages begin, we will realize that, especially with boys, most of their changes are more internal. And for a girl, probably you'd see the breast buds coming out and all that. But mostly for boys, they're more internal. They're more internal. You see the way they're either calming down. If they were so rowdy, they're calming down and all that. They're trying to avoid a lot of socializing. They're trying to avoid even talking to you. If they are their mom, they are trying. You realize that at that time you are not the main character in their story. You're finding they're getting more closer to friends than to you, and those are some of the internal changes that comes into play during the puberty changes. But definitely the physical changes that we all know about that happens in both boys and girls. And I remember there is this aspect of change that most of our boys have suffered from for a very long time. And I normally say every time I talk about the puberty stages, I have to mention this because we actually victimize them, because when we don't really get it when boys are actually changing, especially the growth in their, in their genital areas. We realize that maybe their scrotum and their penises are becoming bigger and all that, and so they feel it. They feel the changes. They actually experience them, but now how to express them becomes a problem. And so that is when you will see them, the most of the time they don't like tucking in. And so we victimize them on that. They don't like tucking in, and we find that sometimes, especially when you are in primary school, even high school, you find they are being punished for that. You just find them they have just untucked, and it's because they feel like their bodies are bulged out and all that. So um, those are some of the signs we need to take note of, and realizing that their pants are becoming much smaller. It's because of the aspect of the growth that takes place in their genital areas earlier. And of course, definitely we have to mention the hairs in their puberty areas, and their armpits, and obviously their voices. And for girls, almost the same thing, and their menses coming and all that. So I would like parents to understand that puberty stages begin more internally first than physically. And so when your 9-year old start behaving like they have moods, and they're starting to be so emotional and all that, just understand them. The stages are started to just to work their things in their lives, and the hormones have started to behave and all that. So we just understand them, allow them to express themselves. If they want to cry, give them space to cry. If they want to speak, let them speak. If they don't want to speak, just let them be. Yeah.
Perfect, perfect. And maybe there's this question. You've talked about emotional, the changes first take place emotionally. How should parents support their children when they are going through these changes? Maybe can you help us with that?
Wow, wow. How parents should actually approach this. All right. I don't know. For me to talk about this, I normally think it is important for we as parents also to understand the stage at which we are parenting at. The different parenting styles for different stages of our children growing up. And so when we are around 0 to 3 years, we scout. We do a lot of scouting on our children. So at that time, we are following them around. We are checking what are they doing. We are almost doing things for them, and then maybe between 4 and 6, we are actually being more informative. They're copying us. We are modeling to them. So they are copying the things we are doing at that time, and so the kind of adults will be around that child, it is likely for them to carry out the character of that individual. So because we are modeling at that time, you find that if you are somebody who brings friends over, and you start talking about other people with friends, there is a high possibility in the vicinity of that child, your children will turn out to be the same. And I see it happening a lot. You find a child who just call their friends, and they're not talking about any other thing, they're talking about another kid or another family or something like that, because that was modeled in their house. They see it happening. They model how the teachers teach them in school. Yeah, that is the time they most children between the age of 4 to 6, 7, you'll find they would like a lot teaching their fellow children, because that is what the model, the kind of things that teachers are doing to them, that is what they are learning also. And then there's a stage of 7 to 10 years. They're gathering a lot of information, so you become an informer at that time. So that time is when whatever you tell your child, they're likely to keep it. Whatever they experience, they're likely to keep it till adulthood. They're likely to know remember, at between 7 and 10, they're almost in their primary level. And so at that time, if you tell your child they are stupid, they'll carry it along. Yeah, because they are keeping a lot of information at that time. And then let's talk about 10 to 12 years. At that time, they need you to become a friend. They need a friend at that time. They want to play with you. They want to go with you almost everywhere. They want to tell you issues. They want to inform you about this and that. And again, during this time is when puberty stages have started. So they expect you as a friend to be able to understand what they're going through, because they are your friend. They expect you to talk to them, they expect you to be there for them, they expect you to listen to them, okay? And let's talk about 13 to around 17 years, 13, 16 years there. They expect you to be a coach to them. And so at this time, they expect you to be able to trust them a lot. They expect you to be able to give them direction. They expect you to be able to, guide them.
Mhm.
Oh goodness, a call keeps coming in. So when they realize that you are carrying out the scouting past, sometimes we want to scout them past 9 years. And that is where
Mhm.
collision takes place. You want to check, what are you doing? Where are you going? What is this? Da da da. So at that time, you are scouting them instead of becoming a friend. Then you find that they will avoid you. So what happens at puberty stage? They expect you to be a friend. They expect you
Mhm.
to instruct them. They expect you to listen to them. They expect you to actually, what do you call it? They expect you to guide them. All right. And that is the time I tell parents, before your child enters puberty, it is important for you to prepare them for puberty. Preparation for puberty means they have not yet entered into that stage, but you are preparing them into that stage. And so what does that mean? That you as a parent, you ought to take them through the things that they will go through sooner or later because they're entering into puberty. So your role is actually to equip yourself, have the right information, know the how, the why, the where, and then bring this information to them before they enter into that stage.
Oh,
So it is important for you to equip yourself and prepare your child for puberty. We usually have a class where we train parents on how to be equipped, to equip themselves to prepare their children for puberty. We show you how to do it, what to do, what to say, where and when, and so that this child believes that even when they enter that stage, they believe that you have a final say, you have a say about what they're going through. And it's not like they're shocked into
mhm.
what they're going through, but they are expecting it, and they can always refer to you when they experience those stages in their life.
Oh,
Have I
wow,
answered
wow.
your question?
Really well, really well. And then there's something else you've mentioned that it's so important to talk about the why and the when. Could you maybe tell us why is it so important? Why should we not go right in and talk about the hows, and then why is the why and the when so important? And then when are we supposed to begin this talk about puberty, about sexual health? When are we supposed to start that? And the other question that I've asked.
I keep losing you at the end, so I think I didn't get the last part.
Okay, the second part I've asked is when are we supposed to begin this talk? To when are you supposed to start this talk child? You've had.
Oh wow! I don't know why the volume is so low.
Oh, it's low.
Uh,
I don't know why, and I can hear you so well. Or it's my
you can
audio.
hear
I don't.
me?
Yeah, I can hear you so well. But
Yeah, yeah.
I'm asking, when are we supposed to begin this talk? And why is it so important to talk about the why and not the how?
Yeah.
And that is the
Oh,
question.
great. So, yeah, okay, okay. So why is it important for us to talk to our children regarding their puberty stages earlier? Just as I mentioned, most of us never went through this, when we were
Mhm.
growing up. Things just used to happen. And when things happen, then we find ourselves at a crossroad. We don't know whether this thing that has happened to me, if a friend if somebody tells me I am bewitched, I would understand. I would be like, yeah, probably I am bewitched, because I don't even know what.
Mm. Hi, hi guys. Sarah is back.
Sorry, there is a call that keeps coming on. But anyway, the why is because every other part of us needs we try to help our children grow so well academically. Okay,
Mhm,
then we try guide them so well spiritually, and we go to an extent, we want them to grow so well physically, but then we miss out on their sexuality bit, which is
mhm,
where now puberty comes in. And so it's because we found ourselves, like in our own lives as we were growing up. It's like nobody never ever touched on it, and if anybody did, it was a warning. It was either a warning or a scolding, or just something that would make you feel like this is something that I shouldn't tell anybody. And then it was made to look like a taboo, you know,
mhm,
and a shameful part of us. And so the reason why we have to do this right now as parents is because the media is there
mhm,
right now and it is so loud. And again, there are peers who are as confused as our kids are. So there is misinformation going around. And when we do this is because we have the values and we have the truth. So every time we talk to our children regarding puberty, as we prepare them for puberty earlier, remember we are supposed to give them not only the facts, which are very important, because today's child, you cannot tell them that children came from trees. Yeah,
yeah.
they'll just go to Mr. Google and ask Mr. Google. Even if they don't know how to type, they'll just put the microphone on and ask, where do children come from? And the next thing, you'll see wonders. So now, you don't want your child to go through that. You want your child to be informed. And so when they're informed, they're able to even defend themselves. And you don't want that information to come from anybody else. You want that information to come from you. Because whoever can give them information is capable of also abusing them. So you'd
Mhm,
rather be the one giving them that information, and you give them information which have facts, which have values, and which have the truth. And so in our program, our truth, we base it on the word of God. So every truth that we pass across is a truth that is based on the word of God. What does the word of God say about this fact? Yes, you will have feelings. It is in the word of God. So how does the word of God address this fact? So that is the main reason, so that our children are not misinformed outside there. What is the right time for us to do this? And the right time for us to do this, we say it is as early as a child can say, this is my eye, this is my ear, this is my mouth. As early as they can be able to speak, as early as 2 years, it is important for you to start addressing matters of their sexuality, because children are being abused as early, 3 years, children are being abused, even younger than that. And so, being informing them means you're giving them, you are we say that information empowers, so you are empowering them to be defend themselves earlier. So that is when. So what you give them is very basic, because what you give them, you cannot give a 3-year-old an information for a 6-year-old. So we have classes where we teach you on what by when. What do you give a child at what stage? So you to base your information at a particular time. What information are you supposed to be able to pass? At 9 years, a child, even at 6 years, a child should be able to know a lot or something to do with pornography, because we know they're exposed to all that. At 5 years old, you should be able to speak about pornography, but the language you will use at 5 is different from the language you use with a child who is 9 or 10 or 11. So, what is also very basic, that you have to have all that, you know, as you give your child those information.
Oh, that is so
Yeah.
descriptive. I really like that.
Yeah.
There's also something else you mentioned about sexuality. I know we began there. we said that sexuality is also how you look, how you feel. Somebody maybe points out to you, your nose is big or small, things like that. And maybe for children, maybe who are bullied at school, maybe they are told your eyes are this and this, you're fat or you're so skinny. So how do you help such a child?
All right. So that is maybe regarding their self-awareness, which is very
Mhm.
important. And as we say that when you talk to your child regarding their sexuality earlier, you're actually also able to build their self-awareness. You are able to build their self-confidence. You're able to, address those matters with them. And I think maybe that one we will touch on it. It's a broader perspective sometime to come. But basically, when a child is talked to early regarding their sexuality, remember those are the things you are addressing. You're addressing how they feel, how they look, how they other people regard them. So when you address that, you will be able to mitigate what other children tell them about their bodies, which is very important. That first of all, it should come from you. It's an information that should come from you before other people tell them they are short, they are tall, they are dark, they are what. It should come from you, that you have been able to affirm that child. You have been able to tell them, things pertaining their bodies and how they should embrace it. And during that, as you talk to them, you're also building up their self-esteem. You're building up their self-esteem. Remember, you are informing them. Information, we have said, empowers. So the more informed they are, the more empowered they become. Yeah.
Wow. And what if maybe what the child has been told maybe at school, it's true, maybe they have big ears. For example, my son was told by another boy at school that you have big ears. And yes, it's true, he has big ears. So what should I do as a parent? How should I maybe help him through this?
All right. So as I said, their facts, their values, and their truth.
Mm-hmm,
So, and we said that our truth, we base it on the word of God.
mm-hmm,
So if at all at early stages you're able to let your child understand and appreciate themselves, like,
mm-hmm,
this is who I am, this is what I have, and as I am, God has made me fearfully and wonderfully. So at the end of the day, your voice has to be there every single day for them, affirming them and
mm-hmm.
letting them know that it doesn't matter what anybody else tell them, because all these things, they won't hear it today only, they will keep hearing it day in, day out. And remember, even as they keep on growing, they're becoming even more self-conscious. So even the things that you've been affirming them, that you are so lovely, you're so beautiful and all that, there is a stage they will come and they'll be like, I'm not really beautiful. They're actually seeing other people and they're thinking those people are more beautiful than them. But you see, now you keep on talking. And with sexuality, we say sexuality talks are actually those talks that you cannot demonstrate, but you have to talk. You have to talk. Apart from the values you demonstrate, apart from the values which you have to live by, because you cannot tell your child not to abuse others and you are abusive, and so you have to live by values. But when it comes to other things like the facts, when it comes to the truth, you have to speak it out. You have to speak it out to them. They have to hear you. It has to sink down in them. And they have to, with time, it will be part of their life, hearing you tell them, you know what? Your ears, it doesn't matter. You have beautiful ears and they are big so that you can hear everything. And it doesn't matter if they have small ears, that is their problem. You are not a creator of ears, that is their problem. You see? Yeah, I normally tell my girls, if they are too tall, then their height has helped them in a way. Your shortness helps you in also your own way. So you don't need to be like them. And so we just have to keep on talking. We just have to keep on talking. There is no other way around it, but we have to keep on talking and affirming them that actually whatever they have is God's creation, and that which God has given them is wonderful. And that is what God says. It is wonderful. Yeah.
Perfect. Now, I only have two more questions before we wrap up. And
Yeah.
could you maybe tell us some of the maybe three signs that you can look at your child and know that maybe they've been abused? Can you maybe give us maybe like 3 or 4 signs that we can know that your child has been abused?
Wow. All right. This is a whole course by itself. Imagine. It's just a
Yeah.
whole course by itself. And when it comes to say to abuse, I don't know where to begin. But you see, most of our even our teachers and most parents, they are the goal point for children when they are abused. But sometimes these children are abused and they are quiet, and so it is important for an adult to know, especially the adults who are, in charge of these children. If they are caregivers, their parents, their teachers, it is important for them to actually read out the signs. And one of the signs that apart from the physical signs that you maybe have to be examined by a doctor, or maybe we can spot maybe the walking style of a child and all that. There's also an aspect of grooming before even a child is abused. So many times grooming takes place. And grooming, we say it's it's a process by which an individual uses, especially a predator, to lure a child. And sometimes this, the many times we tell our children there's a stranger danger kind of a thing. It's not really it, because most of abuse take place even under our own roof by people we know, our own relatives, our own friends, people who are familiar to the child. And so we have to also understand grooming. That's why I say it's a whole topic by itself. So when we understand that grooming is taking place, like this child is being lured, we can always see by the way a child behaves. You will find out that probably they're trying to avoid a particular person, and maybe you've sent them to go and stay with their auntie somewhere, or one of your relative, and they're like, I don't want to go there. Don't take it personal. It's important for you not to take it personal, especially if initially they liked going there and then all of a sudden they don't want to go there. Yeah, if you can be able to keep them in your house, please do, or change the place you have to take them. That is also a sign. And with that, it is important for you to let your child know that, you know what, you can tell me anything that happened there, or what you feel you're uncomfortable with in that place. And it doesn't matter how it looks like, it will never be your fault. That is a very important statement that our children need to know, that when an abuse takes place, it's never their fault, and it is always the fault of the abuser.
Questions from our audience before Sarah is back. We need to take the questions. Sarah is questions before we wrap up. If you're live, I see people who are live right now. Please, regarding sexuality, all these things that we are learning, tell us. Maybe if you have a question, please let us know so that Sarah can answer it. And yeah, if you are online, I can see people who are live. Do you have a question regarding this topic that not many people like to talk about? So if you have a question, leave it in the live chat and Sarah is going to answer it. Don't be shy, just ask. And also, if you are not able to ask right now, you can leave your question in the comment box. Sarah is going to read them later on and answer them. And thank you so much, Sarah. Now, the very last question that I have is, for example, if a parent has not being maybe present, how are they able to suddenly become a friend to a child that, maybe they were not there in the first place when they were growing up? How do you become friends with your child? That is the question. How do you become friends?
I think I didn't get it so clearly. I need to hear it well.
Okay, I'm asking, how can a parent become friends with their children? How do you become a friend?
Oh, great. How to become a friend with your child. If there is one particular way, I don't know if there is any particular way, I would have given it. I mean, if it was there, I would have given it. But, parenting, we say it has no formula. It has no formula. But as we said, from facts that we have, from facts that we have gathered and studies we have done, it is very it is um, it is factual that when you begin having conversation with your children from a young age, you build up relationship with them, especially when you open up to them regarding matters that are sensitive and that you'd prefer only you talking to them about, especially when you talk about, as I've said, the sexuality matters. If you open up to them on those matters, believe me, you're able to build a relationship with them, a bond with them. You're able to build up friendship with them. And also when you come to also learn the particular stage where they are in, and you try parent at that level. Like if your children are in their nine going onwards, remember they need you as a friend and they need you as a coach. They need you as an instructor and they need you to trust them.
Mhm.
So when all those things you put them in place and be able to put them together, then you'll be able to win them over to yourself. But if they find that at that time you're still continuing to scout them,
Mhm.
you're still continuing to hover around them and scout them and all that, you lose that trust, you lose that bond with them.
Mhm.
So as I've said, there's no really a linear thing that we can say this is the way we become friends with our children. But as early when your children are still young, it is important for you to start cultivating that bond with them as early as possible. But if they've gone past their teenagehood and you feel like there are things that you missed out, try and apologize.
Mhm.
Yeah, try and apologize and let them know, you know what, we missed out on this, and I'd really like to get into your life and really like to get to know how you are doing, how you are faring on, how are you handling this, and I believe and trust you that you're actually making the right decision, and I am here to help you if at all there is something that you don't know how to do. Yeah.
That's perfect. And now, as we wrap up, maybe could you tell us, where can these parents, where can we find your classes, maybe your social media handles, like where can we maybe get these classes that you offer that are so nice? Can you maybe tell us?
All right. Our programs, we call our program My Journey, My Courage. On YouTube, we are My Journey, My Courage. On Facebook, My Journey, My Courage. On Instagram, My Journey, My Courage. And then you can also find me as Sarah Kibazo on LinkedIn. And
Mhm.
basically that. And then we have a parenting group that we parent over 200 parents. We do a mentorship program for 200 and above parents. And during in those groups is where we also make our classes. We make different classes for parents. We make different classes for teenagers and preteens and the young adults. And so you can always find me on those hurdles. And apart from that, you can also WhatsApp me on 0700 522 814 So that's about it. I think that's where you can find me. Yeah, we can interact.
Okay, okay. So guys, I'm going to leave Sarah's contact info as she has said them in the video description. If you want to join
Yeah.
in these programs, if you want to maybe have a talk with her regarding this subject, regarding sexuality, teenage, preteen, all of this sexual health stuff, Sarah is here to help you, to guide you through this journey. So I'm going to leave all her contact details in the video description so that you can reach out to her, and so that also you can join in her program so that you can learn more, because we've really not even talked about everything. There's so much that need to be talked about. There's so much that we need to learn, and we can only learn this when we go through such a program that Sarah is offering. So I'm going to leave her contact details in the video description. And since people are still very shy to ask questions, and I can see people are live, please, if you're live and you have a question, please don't let this opportunity slide. Please ask Sarah questions. Um, but I think we've covered as much as we wanted to cover, right, Sarah?
Sure, 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 sure. Thank you so much.
Yeah, yeah. I'm so happy that you made time to be here. I'm so happy that you really taught us. I've really learned so much, because I would say I only knew the physical changes, not like those things that we learn in class. But this emotional stuff, being friends, the scouting, all those stages, really, we are not taught that. And that is why I had you come on this platform so that you can educate us. And I hope that we can be doing this often, if that is okay with you, of course. And I'm really, really delighted that you made time to be here. And so that's it, guys. If you have a question, please leave it in the comment box. And I'm going to save this video so that all of you can go through it later on. If you maybe joined later on, you are going to be able to follow through from the where we began up to at this point. And I think that's it, Sarah. So maybe you can give the people your final word, your final remark. What maybe can you tell them? And then we are going to end this live session.
Yeah, thank you so much, Teresa. Thank you for having me. Thank you for this moment. And I want to tell parents that you know, in this day and age that we are living in, we can't afford to leave things, in the blank and assume that, like the way we used to assume, they'll just know. I mean, even as we just found out things, we can't leave it like that, because you see, the world is talking, and it is talking so loudly. You look at our billboards today, there's nothing to hide. Everything is on black and white. So we have no luxury of that. And the more we take it up into our hands, the better it shall be for our children. Yeah. So it is important for us to equip ourselves and learn these skills. Yes, parenting has no particular method, but there are skills that can be learned. That's it.
Totally. And I hope I'm also going to be one of your students, because really you've impacted so much into me. Just these few 50 minutes, I've really learned so much, and I encourage every one of us to take up this opportunity. Remember the links to join in Sarah's program. They are in the video description. Feel free to sample Sarah's program. And that's it, guys, from us. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for the support. And we'll see you in our next live session. Bye. Sarah, you can say bye. Bye.